I'll show you how it's done. Shazam!
Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to Underdeveloped here, and today we have another movie review for you. Today it is for the much anticipated Furiosa, and for this one I did a lot of prep for this. Nick already saw the movies before because so stuff that he liked was inspired by the Mad Max franchise, so that made him go back and watch it. The movie's directed by George Miller, who made the other ones.
Also the Happy Feet movies.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either until I googled them.
No, I grew up in Happy Feet.
Overall, I'm not really crazy about any of these Mad Max movies, but I do think this is probably the one I like the best of the bunch. I do actually really enjoy a lot of the adventures young Furiosa goes through. Like, you really feel the emotional turmoil that she's kind of struggling with, because she's just kind of going about her business one day, and then she just kind of ropes into all this, and her actions inadvertently get other people drawn in, and then her mother dies, and then she just has no agency for such a long time, and she has to sneak around and actually kind of get the agency back for her, and just kind of redefine herself as she gets older. I like that idea a lot, especially conceptually. I also just like the performance from younger Furiosa. I think it's just generally good. They don't have her talk a lot, especially now as a kid, but overall, passable.
This movie, like the way I look at the Mad Max franchise, it's more about, like, certain movies are not meant to have that much characterization. Some movies are just meant for let the world speak for itself. The world's kind of the character in itself. Like, if you look at movies like Star Wars and Lord of the Rings, those main characters, like, as famous as Frodo is and Luke Skywalker are, they don't have too much characterization. Even Harry Potter, you know what I mean? Because the world is the more interesting thing in all the side characters. Everything that makes up the world is detailed in itself. Because obviously, when they concepted this idea, they thought of everything. They thought of all the other side characters, the way the world works, you know what I mean? So that's where more of the story and interesting thing lies, you know what I mean? So a lot of times in stories like that, not necessarily the main character is not always that compelling, because the world speaks for itself. Same thing with Star Wars. Star Wars is like, you know what I mean? Like, Luke Skywalker is the main character, but he's by far not the most interesting character. Like, you have people like Han, you have people like Chewbacca, you have people like C-3PO, you have all these other side characters in the world itself, and the villains, you know what I mean? Like, and the overall vision of where this world is going, you know what I mean? And that's what gets people going, you know what I mean? People not necessarily want to be, oh yeah, I just love Luke Skywalker. Some people do, but that's not really what they don't go to the movies to see Luke Skywalker. They go to the movies to see Star Wars, even though Luke is the main character. And this is the kind of movie where it's kind of like you more go for the desert fight scenes and these savages fighting for simple resources that's simple for us, but it's like very precious to them. Like, Mad Max is someone that's very he's very primal. He's been reduced to being a primal scavenger, essentially, just trying to survive and get whatever resource he can get. And he gets sucked into this world, and he's helping people, and that's something he thought he never would have to do. But going back to Furiosa actually improves on that aspect, because Furiosa is not character study, but it focuses mainly on her journey and her finding love, her getting revenge. You know what I mean? So it gives more characterization than, I guess, more than any other of the Mad Maxes, other than maybe the first one, but this movie probably gives the most. This movie in the Mad Max franchise probably gives the most characterization for its main character. Yeah. Out of all of them.
I'd say so.
So if you're into that, then this movie definitely provides that for you. But it also delivers on the action and the sound and all that good shit that you like in a Mad Max movie. And on top of that, you get a really charismatic villain played by Chris Hemsworth. He knocks out the fucking park as the Dementor. You know, you actually want to see him more. You know, from his accent, from the way he spoke to his speeches. You even kind of buy into his bullshit, but he's really just a madman. But he has gone through a lot of horrible shit, just like Furiosa. Yeah. You know what I mean? So he looks at it like we all go through horrible shit. It is what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's justifying me being an asshole.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? And he does it very compellingly. Kind of reminds you how the Joker was in Batman. He kind of compels you. He did horrible things. He kind of made you like, he kind of has a point. You know, like he has, and as those will make characters great, especially villains. You know what I mean? And his charisma shown in a lot of these scenes. That's you could tell. That's why he's a leader, because you know how to speak. Kind of like Immortan Joe. To me, a good story would have been between Immortan Joe and this guy.
Yeah.
Because they both kind of come from the same cloth.
I mean, this movie kind of teases that,
It
but
kinda
never really
teases-
goes into
Yeah,
it.
because these people, like, Immortan Joe makes you believe in something bigger than yourself, but it really just serves his self-interest, just like fucking Chris Hemsworth. Because he literally tried to persuade the warlords to join him and ditch Immortan Joe.
Yeah.
Selling him like, oh, this guy just want to use you, but in reality, he wants to use you too.
Yeah.
So that kind of so that's really interesting. Like the one that's kind of interesting. It's kind of interesting in like in power dynamics in the way, and it reflects in the way we as a society try to manipulate people, like with religion and whatever else, or just in politics in general, trying to make you think that we're trying to be we're on your side. We're really not. We're just trying to serve our self-interest and throw things at you that make you, like how people use media to manipulate people and their interest and to trick you into supporting politics against your interest. Yeah, pretty much what they're doing. You know what I mean? And that's a big theme of all those movies, because Immortan Joe is like that in Fury Road, and I like that. So I felt that like it kind of shows you like when humans are like desperate people just fighting for any kind of power they can have. You know what I mean? And I kind of like that. This movie's primal, and the visuals and the sound kind of bring you into that state. You know what I mean? Just a fucking wild ride, and I'm down for it. You know what I mean? But so like that's where me and you disconnect, because you obviously character drives plot. I think it could be either or. Character drives plot drives character. Really, how you want to spin it. So if you're like Nick, you believe into more, you really like character studies and like character motivations, whatever else. You know, it's kind of there. But if you really want like really well thought out characters, whatever else, you may not like it. I don't know. But if you're into the Mad Max franchise and you kind of into story too, I think this I think this movie kind of supplies both needs. I think this movie kind of fills both needs. I think this movie has things you can cling to, has concepts about politics and war and revenge and fighting and fighting for a cause. You know what I mean? Like I think it has all those elements on top of like all the visuals and action sequences that makes Mad Max dope. Like, you know what I mean? Like when you see the war machine running and the motors and the fucking guns, it's an adrenaline rush. You know what I mean? So, I mean, if you're a fan of Mad Max, this movie definitely hits the park out. This may be the best one, maybe. But Mad Max Fury Road was pretty epic, so it's hard to me to put it over Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah, I'm sure it's something that different people can have different opinions on.
But I think it's a good. I think this stands on its own. I think this is a good one too.
I can't see someone liking one, not liking the other. Really,
exactly. It's kind of like if you like that one, if you like Fury Road, then you'll like Furiosa. Mad Max story for sure.
Yeah, maybe you like it better. Maybe you won't like it.
Maybe
as much.
just maybe. You know
Either
what I mean?
way,
if you're a fan of Furiosa, this does get into Furiosa a lot. You know what I mean? So you know she doesn't really speak too much in the movie. Yeah, but it's fine because you're already invested in her journey. Yeah,
and like they do, like at least they give like it makes sense why she doesn't speak, because again she pretends to be a dude for a good chunk of this movie.
Yeah, exactly. So she's like playing a farce for most of the movie.
Like at least here, it's like hers not speaking has always made sense. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I was more okay with it.
Yeah, they just didn't have to be just not to, you know. So yeah, I think had a purpose behind it. Yes, I mean, and you know, I mean, like the revenge was pretty epic. It wasn't a typical I found you, kill you. It's like no, she gets her comeuppance. She relishes in the torture. She's a sadistic fuck. You know what I mean? And I'm cool with it.
Yeah. Really, like, I feel like the only major downside of the movie for me is kind of like, I feel like it does kind of like get less interesting in its second half for the most part. Like, I do like a lot of the young Furiosa stuff.
Yeah, me too.
But like when she like gets older and she forms this really, really fast relationship with Jack, I'm like, I don't know. I'm not really into it because this happened so fast.
It did.
Like, it just kind of didn't get me to care about him. It didn't get me to care about his death or her motivation for him specifically. I was more invested in her getting her revenge for her mom because there was a lot more built up to that. And this is kind of like sidetracked from it.
I felt you threw that in there for sure.
Yeah. Like, it just kind of padded out the movie. Yeah. It probably would have been stronger without that aspect, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, the movie, the strength was between her and Chris Hemsworth. That was like, to me, that was where the movie, the strengths of the movie really lied because they do have deep similarities to each other. Mm-hmm. Even though he did what he did to her, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And he definitely exploded at the end, you know what I mean? So it was like, I thought that was very interesting. You know what I'm saying?
It was. And if they focused even more on that, then this would have been a better movie.
It should have been more narrow. Should have been narrowly focused instead of distracting us with all these other side characters. Mm-hmm. I'll say.
Yeah.
So that's the movie, I think that's a movie lacked for sure.
Yeah, but I think that's the only, like, major like
Yeah.
objective faults
so.
with it.
And I definitely did like the Furious stuff because the young one, because it was easy to get drawn into her journey because we really saw her beginning point and how she started to change.
Yeah,
And by the time she already became Anya Taylor-Joy, she already was in her.
yeah, she was pretty much already
ready
at that
Furiosa,
point.
essentially.
Yeah, more or less.
So it wasn't too much growth there necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of her other growth takes place in a different movie. So
Yeah, that does. Yeah.
So yeah, I think my score for this is about. I'll give this an 86.
Like, I think I'm going to be fair and just give it an 80. I don't think it's, like, a particularly great movie, but it does do a lot of things very well. I do think anyone who really likes Mad Max, especially likes Mad Max Fury Road, would get a kick out of this, would definitely enjoy it at the very least. So, that's a wide margin of people who would like it if they saw this movie, so absolutely go see it if you want to.
Yeah, I'll say so.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. If you're a fan of Mad Max, definitely give this a watch. If you not even, but you're interested, like I'll say, give this a try if you don't like it and you don't like it.
Yeah.
Because this movie has probably the most character development of any of the Mad Maxes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because this is a personal journey. Like the other Mad Maxes wasn't really personal other than the first one.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The rest was just about him just, I want feel, and then I guess I have to help you in the meanwhile.
Mm-hmm.
Help you from this oppressor. So he's kind of like a drifter. He's a road warrior. He just goes from one place to another place helping people. That's pretty much what most of those stories are.
That's exactly who Mad Max is and what he does. Yep. Anyways, folks, I think that's all we have to say about this one. So please make sure, if you want to see it, then go support your local movie theater and see it. Absolutely, go have a good time. Please make sure to hit that like, subscribe button. We catch you next time for some more content.